So today we're going to learn how to factorise quadratics. There's a lot of material in this particular heading, so I'm going to break it up into three things. We're going to look today at just simple factorisation. So a quadratic has a term of x squared in it. Normally we would see these written like this. Something like that, all right? We've got an x squared term, we've got an x term, and we've got a 1. Even if one of those is missing, these two, it's still a quadratic. We have to have the x squared for it to be a quadratic, though. What we want to do, remember that factorising means we're trying to put it in brackets. We're trying to take out the greatest common factor, the highest common factor of a quadratic. That starts to get a bit tricky. So, if we look at this one, if we can think back to multiplying out the brackets and getting a quadratic, how did it happen? We had here something, 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 and something, and we added these two together to give that middle one, and this one was at the end, and the x squared was at the beginning. All right, so we had an x squared here and a 6 here, and we had two things that we added together, because they were like terms, to give us 5x. And where did they come from? They came from two brackets where this one times this one gave us that, so we know those are going to be x's, and this one times this one gave us that. All right, so the last two multiplied together, we're going to call these a and b just for a minute. A times b gave us 6. And we multiplied this one by this one, so this was going to be a b, x, and this one, and this one, and this was going to be an ax. All right? So a and b had to add together to give 5, and a and b had to multiply together to give 6. So that's the secret, all right? So when we're factorising a quadratic, we always ask ourselves what adds to give this number, including this sign, and what multiplies to give this number again, including the sign. So, thinking, what multiplies to give 6 and adds to give 5? I heard somebody say 6 and 1. How do you add 6 and 1 to give 5? Right, thinking again. Yes, 2 and 3 multiply to give 6, and add to give 5. So our answer for this bit is x plus 3 and x plus 2. Now these are being multiplied together. And when we multiply things, it doesn't matter the order. So I could have written x plus 2 and x plus 3. One's not more right than the other. They're both perfectly okay. Doesn't matter which way round you write these, because they're being multiplied. Okay, so let's have a look at another one. Okay, a little bit harder this time. What multiplies to give negative 10 and adds to give negative 3? Right, let's think about numbers that multiply to give 10. We've got 1 and 10 and 5 and 2. And we want to get to 3. Can you get to 3 with 1 and 10? No. So it's going to be the 5 and 2. Now, what sort of arrangement are we going to have to get negative 3 out of 5 and 2? Right, 2 minus 5 or negative 5 plus 2. One of those two, doesn't matter. So does negative 5 times 2 give us negative 10? Yes, it does. Right. So our two numbers are negative 5 and positive 2. All right, can you see what I'm doing? Right, let's have a look at another one. What if we've got this one? Okay, multiplies to give positive 12, adds to give negative 7. So, how can I add to get a negative and multiply to get a positive? I need two negatives. two negatives that add together to give -7 and multiply to give 12. So what numbers have I got that multiply to give 12? We've got 1 and 12, 2 and 6, 3 and 4, 3 and 4, ring 7 in our head, so it's going to be a 3 and 4, but it needs to be -3 and -4, because -3 times -4 gives us 12. All right, so we've had a positive positive, a negative negative, a negative positive. I'm going to do one more. Guesses as to what it'll be. Yeah, a positive, negative. Right, so we just went through. Oh, this time we have to have a -12. That means one of the numbers has to be a positive and one negative, because a positive times a negative gives us a negative. So one positive, one negative, that adds to go 4. So 1 and 12, 2 and 6, 2 and 6, 2 and 6. I can get 4 out of 2 and 6, 3 and 4. Can't do that one. Okay, so 2 and 6. How do I get it? I need it to be positive 4. So it's going to be 6 minus 2, or positive 6 minus 2. That gives us -12. Positive 6 and minus 2. All right, your turn to practice. Remember, there are lots of things that multiply. Check it very carefully. Don't presume.